list them down because most people were okay with that. So what is the final velocity? If it is going 12 meters per second, it decelerates at negative 5.8, so that's A. And it does it over 10 meters. So the other thing I was really happy with on this one is most everyone got the equation too. So VF, VI, A, and D. The only one that has that is ain't got no time. VF, VI, A, D. So that's the equation we're going to use, ain't got no time. Okay, that's the equation we're going to use, ain't got no time. So when we set it up, it's V final squared equals V initial squared plus 2A D. And where I saw people having trouble with is solving the algebra. So let's talk about how to solve the algebra here. So first thing we do is square the 12. That's 144. And so here's the first mathy thing that I noticed people having a hard time with. What to do with this 2, the 5.8, and the 10. So what I saw a lot of people wanting to do is distribute. Multiply 2 times 5.8 and then 2 times 10. Distributing is only if you're adding. So you would distribute if you were doing 2 times negative 5.8 plus 10. Then you would distribute to both of them. But that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're multiplying 3 numbers together. It's kind of like if I had 2 times 3 times 4. I could multiply 2 by 4 to get 8, and then 8 by 3 to get 24. Or I could do 2 times 3 to get 6, and 6 times 4 to get 24. Or 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. The order you multiply in doesn't matter. But you do multiply them all once. You don't multiply them twice. You don't do 2 times 3 is 6, and then 2 times 4 is 8, and then 8 times 6. You don't do that. So 2 times negative 5.8 times negative 10. So 2 times negative 5.8 is negative 11.6. And then 10 times negative 11.6 is negative 116. Okay, so that gives me V final squared equals 28. And this was the next part that people had issues with, which is figuring out what to do at this point. So right now you have V final squared. What we want is just V final. So the opposite of this is to square root instead of square. So some of you squared both sides. Don't do the same thing. Do the opposite thing. So the opposite of squaring is square rooting. When you square root V final squared, you just get V final. When you square root 28, you get 5.29. Now, technically, you get a plus or minus 5.29, and you have to choose the correct sign. I think it's all pretty clear to us it would be a positive. You wouldn't slow down and then go backwards, right? So you wouldn't end up with a negative value. Technically, though, it is plus or minus. And that does actually matter when we get to freefall. Because in freefall, it is possible that you were going up, but now you're coming down. So it is possible that you'll need the negative when you square root. So it's just something to be careful of. Technically, it is plus or minus, but we choose which one is the correct, and the correct is positive for this one. Okay? Go ahead and keep working here, or not. Go ahead and pack up because we're getting ready to go. If you brought a calculator, give it back to me. Grab your thing that you need. Yeah, sure. Sure. So at the start of the period, you show it to your SRT teacher. They'll mark you down. There'll be a bell that rings like after announcements, and you just come on now. Did you have a good weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Okay.
Yeah. Sleep some more?
Yeah.
Sometimes sleeping's nice.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too. Ooh, he's back!
Yes. Fully in full health.
And Phil, that's good.
So, yeah, is there anything that I need that you
So
passed out?
how much were you able to stay on top of while you're gone?
I wasn't able to find everything that I needed.
Okay. So the big things you want to make sure that you have turned in, I'll pull it up here on the screen because it won't be any personal stuff. Oh, am I still recording? Oh, I'm still recording. This is going to be the best recording ever. It's going to be like solid 3 minutes of just nothing.